My name is Betty Sheila. I'm here in Jericho in Oxford to come and interview Anne Mobs about the International Women's Festival. Hiya Anne, how long have you been involved with this, with the International Women's Festival?
I set it up in 1990. I was the City Council events organiser. So when I was interviewed for the job, I said I would like to run the Fun in the Parks, which was a big community arts festival in all the different parks in Oxford. But I would like to incorporate a women's festival and the Martin Luther King Festival of Black Culture into the events programme. I've been going to International Women's Day events in Oxford, which were run by the Trades Council. And the problem with the Trades Council is it was nearly all men. So you had a lot of men running things for women for International Women's Day, which seemed to me to be a bit ludicrous. There were some women, but there weren't very many. For me, it brought together a lot of things that I'd been involved with, because I'd been involved with anti-racist work, with anti-apartheid. I was one of the women that set up the Refuge in Oxford that supported women who'd been badly treated by their partners, and so in a way, the Women's Festival brought together all sorts of campaigns and things that I'd been working on for a lot of my life, so I found it very satisfying.
So how do you see this festival going on?
Well, we had a real struggle to continue this year because the City Council cut the grant, which I thought was terrible because it's a very successful festival. It attracts, 8,000 or 9,000 people each year, which is a substantial number. And they were giving us a very small grant, about 1,800 or something like that, very small. And so anyway, they cut the grant, which we found quite offensive really, because it didn't value the kind of work that we'd been doing over the years. And so I hadn't been involved in the festival for the past 6 years, and Chris Eady and Catherine Bradley had been running it.
I see the festival as a huge community effort. I think women in Oxford are fantastic. I think they're really vibrant, vital people. Everybody's doing things. You look at the young group of filmmakers we have here today, and there's women doing everything from campaigning to cooking to artwork to working with children. And somehow the festival gives all those women the opportunity to excel, and we promote that for them, and for me that's really important. I'd like to get more young people involved, very young people, and I'd like to reinvent the Girls' Day. We used to always have a Girls' Day, and that's sort of fallen by the wayside. So it is for me as much about community as about feminism, I have to say.
A fantastic 7-foot lady from Nicaragua that is going to be the center of attraction.
It looks like gigantona, but in Spanish it's gigantona.
Sofia comes from León, from a city in Nicaragua, and they have a tradition of the gigantonas in León. And but it's not only a tradition from the León city itself; it is a tradition that is in many other cities in Nicaragua. They say that the gigantona means the giant woman, and it says to be a tradition coming from the Spanish, from the times of the colonization, and it was created. It was a symbol of the beauty of the women from Nicaragua, because they thought of them as being very beautiful and very graceful and with plenty of beautiful presence.
And she has a costume all in the women's colours. Do you know about the women's colours? Well, with the suffragettes, when they were marketing the whole thing about votes for women, that it was green, white and violet. Give women the vote. That's the colour code. And so they've always been the women's colours ever since.
You learn every day. I've learned a new thing today.
Definitely became much more community-based this year. It's very easy in Oxford, because it's such a middle-class sort of area, to not be doing things with people who work on the estates and live on the estates all around Oxford. And so we made a conscious decision as part of the lottery application to involve women in Blackbird Leys and Rose Hill and West Oxford and the travelling women, and also asylum seekers as creative writing workshop. We have this Palestinian woman trade unionist, the first woman elected as a trade unionist in the Palestinian territory. She's come over, and she's speaking on the 8th of March, International Women's Day, in the town hall.
She's been invited here to be part of the Women's International Festival and participate in it. She's come here to represent the women from Nicaragua with plenty of very proudly of doing so. And getting to know everything they're doing in Nicaragua, and getting to know all the human rights of women in Nicaragua and all the work they're doing over there.
Is there any woman who inspires you, who inspired you, who will keep on inspiring?
Well, historically, there's so many women in history. I mean, as part of our festival, we celebrate Dorothy Hodgkin, who is the only British woman scientist to have won a Nobel Prize, and the third woman in the world. And she was here in Oxford, and she was a peace campaigner as well. And with the Nobel Prize money, she gave it for scholarships for people from developing countries, and also to set up a creche at Somerville College for students who had children who couldn't study. So people like that are very inspirational.
I've been involved with the Oxford International Women's Festival for about 12 years. Each event is organised by the separate organisations. But if you can imagine, it would be like running the literary festival with only 2.5 people, which is really what Anne and I do. And I don't think we can keep on doing that.
We have a website, www.oxfordwomen.co.uk, so it's quite clear that it's about Oxford women. And there is a way through the website of getting in touch with us. But we always have our details each year on the programme. So if people want to ring us up or get in touch with us and say they'd like to put on an event, and every year new women come along who say, oh, I'd really like to put on an event. Like Amantha Edmead, who is an actress. She has a play in the programme called Backside Monologues. And she came into the festival last year doing Amaryl Johnson's poems. I came back in to fundraise for it, really. And so we made quite a lot of grant applications, and we raised about £22,000.
Wow.
Which was amazing, really.